What's going on, everybody? This is LC Muscles 20 here. Back in with the victory lap. I forgot to do this yesterday. I'll explain why in a little bit, why I forgot to do it. But yesterday was just a long day after I went home, got home from the sports bar after watching the game. I ended up just crashing. I was just so unbelievably tired and from the whole weekend, just not getting enough sleep. Just sorry I forgot to do a victory lap, so that's why I'm doing it today. I'm going to go over real quick the Steelers win and then preview a little bit next week because there has been some development for the past over the past 12 hours ever since that Steelers game and Falcons game ended. And regarding our opponent this week as well. So I'm very intrigued to see how this week will be, but hey, I'm very excited. 98 we're embarrassed for your win. Oh man. The Falcons, though, realistically, I will give them credit for the second half. They actually played very competitively in the second half. The Steelers, for the most part, did what we needed to do, but we could have played a lot better, realistically. The first half, we were good, but once again, Matt Canada gets complacent, and we don't do much in the second half. Like our second to last drive was our worst drive of the game. That was our only punt, but the good thing was we at least got a point in almost every single drive except for the last one, which was that one where we drove a ton of clock out and we did what we needed to. I would have liked to go for the field goal there, but the punt was actually the smarter play. So I will give my Tomlin credit. I originally thought during the game that why are you punting it? I thought it was just a bad move, but then ended up placing right at the 2 yard line. So that was a very good punt by Presley Harvin the third. Do I think of Najee? Najee's been playing a lot better, and I will. That's one of the things I want to give credit to. The running game over the past 3 weeks has gotten a lot better. Actually since the bye week, it's gotten a lot better. Our running game has been a lot better for as a whole. Our offensive line's been playing better. There are some weak points on the offensive line, though. Including Dan Moore, he can't stop hugging people and can't stop getting penalties, which absolutely sucks. I just don't like that. Dan Moore just continually just hurts the offensive line like that. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to complain too much. He's doing enough to get the win. We did have Chuck Okafor go out of the game a little bit. I'm glad he came back in. Hopefully, everyone's healthy for this week. Our defense played for the most part. We played pretty good until the second half. Our second half, our defense really just did not step up at all. The Falcons were able to run down our throw, get that touchdown. If it wasn't for that holding, they would have taken the lead because that holding with the was the holding. It was the holding on Cordell Patterson's possible go-ahead touchdown run where it was completely evident. So we are very glad that it was fortunate they called holding. The officiating, for the most part, really wasn't that bad. Didn't have a factor in the game. So good job, Ron Torber. I'm glad you didn't really have that impact of the game. Our team right now, we're in a really good spot. The Steelers, we've won our past 2 in a row. We've won 3 in a row since the bye week. We lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, who just beat Kansas City, who's probably the best team in the AFC at that point. So realistically, our team's been really good over the past few weeks. We've been really good. And our opponents down the stretch, we're in a good spot. Realistically, if Lamar Jackson is going to be out for what I've been hearing, he will not be playing this game against the Steelers. He more likely will be out because of that bad knee injury. He will not be playing against the Ravens. That's why the Steelers have moved out to be a favorite in the game because originally it was supposed to be a 1.5 point favorite for the Ravens, and now it is a 2.5 point favorite for the Steelers as of now, and it could be more. Yes, Tyler Huntley will be starting against the Steelers this week. I'll go over that in a little bit. Otherwise, though, before I get into the rest of the way, though, I will give credit. Marcus Mariota is not that bad of a player. I just wish he would pass the ball more. He did try and pass a lot, and he threw a lot of bad passes. He threw a lot of bad passes, over the receivers' heads, and that really hurt them. And not having a good tight end really hurts the Falcons. Losing Kyle Pitts, I feel like, was a big detriment. Losing a big key piece of that offense. Kyle Pitts is just such a phenomenal talent and tight end. Not having him around really hurt the Falcons. because Parker Hesse or whatever his name was really is not the same quality of player compared to Kyle Pitts. So having a good tight end is just tough to have, and Falcons should not get rid of Hayden Hurst. That was also a big problem they had, but Falcons are a young team, I get it. And seeing Slitta's rivalry action when I was at the bar after, right as I was leaving, seeing Slitta going absolutely berserk was pure comedy gold. It was great seeing him absolutely lose his mind after that game. It was hilarious. But I will give a shout out to the Falcons fans. You guys played a good second half against us, even though it should not have been that close. You guys do have some young key pieces, and you guys do have a young future, a good future ahead of you. If your coaching can do a little bit better, your coaching, Arthur Smith's not really that good of a coach, but I feel like if you improve a little bit, I think this team has some good young key pieces for the future. I don't think you'll be a playoff team this year, but I think you could definitely be a playoff team in the next couple of years if you continue to build to build your pieces around it. Cordell Patterson, I feel like, is the best offensive player on your entire team. I think you need to pay him. You need to keep him around long term, at least until the end of his career. I think you need to keep him around. You need to eventually find his replacement, but right now you need to keep him on it for the rest of his career in Atlanta. He's your cornerstone of that piece on the offense. Just have him around. Have him as like a top tier running back or like a receiver. Just have him wherever you need him. Cordell, build around him. Get another. Have Desmond Riller start. I think it's time that Desmond Riller starts. I think you need to start him. You realistically should go get. Really should get let Desmond Riller see what he's got over the next few weeks. I don't think Atlanta's going to make the playoffs, especially in the last game of the season against Tampa Bay when Tampa wins the division by default. Play Desmond Riller to see what you got in him for the next year because Marcus Mariota is not going to be your starter next year. So continue on for the rest of the year. I'm excited for the last few games. We got Baltimore and Carolina in the next 2 weeks, and then we got the Raiders, Ravens, and Browns over the next few weeks. Deshaun Watson really didn't look good, but that was to be expected against the Texans. It was a warm-up game for him, and then they got to play Cincinnati next week on the road. That is going to be a brutal time for Deshaun Watson. I think the Steelers realistically might win out. I think we have a good chance of winning out the rest of their games. I can realistically see it because right now the only tough team we would play left is probably the Raiders. Because the Ravens, dude, let me just tell you this, and I was telling my other friends earlier about this. The Ravens have been extremely inconsistent lately. Over the past 4 years, they've realistically have blown, other than the one time in 2019 where they swept us when they were 5-11, or what that one year was they went 5-11. No, I'm sorry, that was 2017. But other than that, they've been completely collapsing. Like they've had a good start to the year, and they completely collapsed. And I think this is going to happen again with Baltimore. And don't worry, I have something planned for this week. I have a hate week planned for Ravens Red Zone because let's be honest, I've owned Ravens Red Zone ever since I've been in the TTC. I'm 4-0 against them, and it's going to be 5-0 going on Sunday. I do not see the Steelers losing and losing momentum, especially because Tomlin knows how to prepare against Baltimore. He knows how to play them. I don't think the Ravens realistically have anybody that's going to come close to being a good talent on the offensive end like Lamar Jackson is. The defense has what's been keeping Baltimore healthy, and they all, along with Lamar Jackson, they just also lost Patrick Queen for possibly the rest of the year. I think with Patrick Queen being out for the rest of the year now, that is going to be a major problem for Baltimore, especially in regards to the pass rush. Our offensive line did play good, even though we didn't get allow a sack against the Falcons. We need to do better on our end. We only had one sack, and I think we could do much better. And I think we will do better because Baltimore's offensive line is not really that great. It's good, but not that great. But we need to play a lot better. I'm just very happy with where we are right now. We're 5-7. We got Baltimore at home. That should be a good game. I will be watching it. And I'm extremely excited for the rest of the week. We got Baltimore and Carolina the next 2 weeks. Let's make it the next 2 weeks easy work. Because realistically, I do not see us losing the Panthers. We've owned the Panthers. Just like the Falcons, we've owned the Panthers ever since we've came in the league. I think they've only beaten us once. Let me actually look that up because I know the Ravens we have owned we've swept in the past 2 years. The Steelers. Let me see here. The Raiders, I know we had that last year. The last year we had the Raiders on the road. me at home, and then we played them, and then I had to do that bet to Raider ban. Okay, yeah. So six. So the Panthers have won once. The Steelers have won six. So we're really 6-1. The only time we lost was the very first time, 1996. That was the very first time we only lost by 4 points, and I don't see that happening again. I think we're going to beat the Panthers. So Lamar's, yeah, I will say Lamar has definitely been iffy this year. And the problem is Lamar, it's the whole Ravens offense hasn't really been that consistent. You barely beat Carolina. You barely beat Denver, even though it should have been much more of a blowout considering you still have Huntley, who's not bad by any means, but he's got to be able to play better against Denver, one of the worst teams in the league. Come on now, you got to be kidding me. Then blowing away to Jacksonville. They've blown way too many games this year. They've blown way too many games this year. I think that it's going to come back and bite them in the ass, and I think we're going to sweep them again this year. So with that, that's where I stand right now. I'm very excited, though. I'm excited to see how the Steelers will do the rest of the year. I'm hoping we still get a Khalil Witherspoon back. I know he's still been hurt. I'm hoping TJ Watt comes back to be his full self. I know he hasn't been his full self the past few weeks, but hey, we're going to get better. And I still think this season overall is a season of just trying to get players back and healthy and just get them end off on a high note. I think Lamar will still end up getting extension no matter what. I think that even though Lamar, he might not beat the Steelers this year, and they still miss the playoffs, I still don't think he's going to get paid. The Ravens wouldn't be so stupid not to pay him that money. They're going to pay him. Let's be realistic. If the Ravens don't sign him, that's going to be one of the worst decisions because you could put Lamar Jackson on a team with a good offensive line, like say a San Fran or something like that, they'd be unstoppable. They would absolutely be unstoppable because of Lamar's running ability. And especially a place like San Francisco, who now just lost Jimmy Garoppolo for the year, who now has Brock Purdy, and who now Baker possibly could be going to San Fran, which I've been hearing about. Like the agent for Baker Mayfield's been contacting San Fran to see if he wants to sign like a couple game contract just to be on their team to back up Brock Purdy. That would be crazy. Do you think the Bucks will beat the Saints tonight? Yes, I do. I don't see the Saints really competing that much, especially if Andy Dalton plays. And Andy Dalton prime time, yeah, it's not a good mix. But overall, though, the Ravens would be stupid not to pay Lamar Jackson. Let's be realistic here. They would be stupid not to pay him. I think that'd be one of the worst decisions they ever make. I don't see how they can get a good quarterback in this year's draft. I think you got the two top quarterbacks that are going to go in the first few picks. And then what do you have from there? I think realistically, the Ravens should pay Lamar Jackson. And it still doesn't change the fact, though, the Steelers will still own the Ravens at the end of the day. We're going to this is a little bit of an early intro to my hate week for this week. My hate week will probably be out on Friday, more likely. Yeah, it's probably going to be on Friday since I got a really busy week ahead of me. Got a busy Tuesday, got double header for reffing Wednesday and Thursday, which will be very tough. So probably Friday will be when my hate week comes out. But yeah, let's be honest. Ravens red zone. Your team's not. The Steelers aren't losing the Ravens again. Not this year. Sorry, buddy. It's not happening. We've owned you the past 2 years, and we're going to own you again. Let's just make it clear. You guys got no shot against us this week, and then against in Baltimore. Even if Lamar's healthy, how has he performed against us in the past few years? My thoughts exactly. So that's all I'm really going to say for today. I didn't want to be on too long. I just wanted to get my quick victory lap in there. Shout out to Slitta, though, for a good live stream. I did tune in your live stream a few points during the broadcast. I saw the end of your epic reaction, your epic meltdown, which was comedy gold. But shout out to having an entertaining live stream, Slitta. Oh, God, imagine being the Bears. Yeah, that's a pretty bad situation, too, Steve Harvey. I get you, man. But anyways, there isn't too much else I got to say about the Steelers. I'm just happy my Steelers are now 5-7. I'm extremely happy they got a win. Let's continue that on. Let's beat Baltimore this week, then beat Carolina next week, and go back to 500 before we play the Raiders. And on Christmas Eve. With that being said, this is LC Muscles 28 here, signing out. See you guys later. Stay awesome. Have a great day. And remember, you can't beat a rival if you got swept within the past 2 years and have an injury to one of the best players in the league. Good day, everyone. I'm out of here.